Hi, I'm Rabbi Mike and I'm here to share with you some more information about some common questions in regards to circumcision. One of the most common questions I get is, what are the risks involved? When it comes to circumcision, there are some basic concerns or risks that could arise when the circumcision isn't done properly or pretty much by the technique that I and my students use. The first is a concern about bleeding. The hospital technique is much more invasive and involves a lot of cutting, pulling, and stretching the skin. And therefore, the bleeding that transpires during the procedure is much more than with the classic Mohel procedure that I use. The second concern involves how much skin is taken off. Very often the hospital and doctor technique, i.e. the Gamco and Plastabel, don't allow the practitioner to take off the required amount of skin. That is because the instruments come in sizes, and if they don't match the exact size of the baby's anatomy, then it's the closest size fits, which generally leaves too much skin. It'll stick and grow back. And in fact, that's very often why parents will hear that after the circumcision you need to keep pushing the skins down to keep it from sticking and growing back. With the technique that I and my students use, that's not an issue because we're able to take off the exact amount of skin necessary and angle the cut to match the unique shape of the baby, therefore giving a custom circumcision. One of the other common questions I receive is, what is the pain that the baby feels like? What is the trauma that the baby experiences? And again, like with everything, there's a vast difference between the hospital medical technique versus what I as a Mohel do. Let's talk about the hospital technique. The baby is strapped down to a restraining board. And of course the technique, as I mentioned in other video clips, takes 20-30 minutes to do with a lot of cutting, pulling, and stretching. With my technique, the baby is lying comfortably on a pillow in the arms of a mother or father or another loved one and takes, on a slow day, 20 seconds. Normally it's about 15 seconds. And then there's the question of giving the baby some numbing medication. And there's multiple types of numbing medication. First, there's the injection, which the baby receives in the standard hospital medical procedure. The problem with the shot is A, you're injecting a foreign substance in a newborn baby's body, and B, the shot takes longer to administer than the entire circumcision procedure as done by me. There are other types of numbing medication which I'm always happy to use, but I also like to be honest with my clients. There's a topical. Now, the only part of the technique that the baby feels when I do the procedure is actually subdural. It's the separation of the mucous membrane from the glands. And a topical, in all honesty, will not solve that problem. It won't take away that pain, which I would compare it to ripping off a Band-Aid in one quick motion. That takes about 1 to 2 seconds to do that separation. I do put on a topical medication right after the procedure, and that's very often why my babies, as soon as I put on the diaper and pick them up, they stop crying. And then there's the big question. Does circumcision minimize the sexual pleasure of a man? Now, I haven't experienced intimacy not being circumcised, so I can't answer firsthand. But I have never met a man who has had difficulty experiencing intimate pleasure that's circumcised.